These bands had it all: the look, the sound, the stage presence, but still slipped through the cracks. Let's count down 15 obscure 80s rock bands that deserved way more love. Number 15, Honeymoon Suite. You hear the first notes and it's 1986 again. New Girl Now blaring from a Camaro stereo, windows down, summer fading. Honeymoon Suite delivered pure Canadian arena rock with slick hooks and heart. Tracks like Feel It Again and Wave Babies weren't just catchy, they felt like Friday nights. Their songwriting had that perfect mix of edge and emotion that defined the era. They topped the charts in Canada and even made it onto US radio, but never quite reached household name status in the States. Today, they're a hidden gem that instantly brings the vibe back the moment you hit play. Number 14, Autograph. They had one of the most iconic rock anthems of the decade, yet somehow they're barely mentioned today. Autograph exploded onto the scene with Turn Up the Radio, a song that became a symbol of 80s rebellion and freedom. Their debut album also gave us Send Her to Me, another melodic gem packed with power chords and radio-ready energy. With slick production, killer guitar tone, and choruses built for stadiums, it seemed like their rise was unstoppable. But label struggles and lineup changes stalled their momentum, and they faded just as fast as they arrived. Still, the moment those opening notes hit, it's like the summer of '84 never ended. Number 13, Dirty Looks. They had the swagger of AC/DC and the streetwise snarl of early Guns N' Roses, but without the fame or fanfare. Dirty Looks broke through with Cool from the Wire, featuring the gritty standout Oh Ruby and the punchy, rebellious It's Not the Way You Rock. Their sound was raw, loud, and completely unfiltered, a contrast to the polished glam flooding the airwaves. Fans loved the edge, the energy, the honesty, but mainstream success never quite followed. They toured hard, played harder, but were always just under the radar. Today, their records feel like secret weapons in any true rock fan's collection. Number 12, Hurricane. They had the pedigree, the sound, and the look, but somehow got lost in the glam metal shuffle. I'll think about tomorrow. Formed by Robert Sarzo and Tony Cavazzo, brothers of Quiet Riot legends, Hurricane came in hot with melodic heavy hitters like I'm On to You and Over the Edge. Their music struck that perfect balance between emotional power and hard rock punch. Despite solid airplay and tours with major acts, they never fully escaped the shadow of bigger names. Timing and oversaturation held them back from the spotlight they clearly deserved. Still, one spin of those choruses, and it's clear they were built for more than opening slots. Number 11, Vain. They They had the look, the swagger, and a frontman who oozed charisma, but fame slipped through their fingers. Vane burst onto the late 80s scene with No Respect, a cult classic packed with sleazy, stylish anthems like Beat the Bullet and Icy. Their sound was darker, grittier, and more fashion-forward than many of their peers, almost too cool for the mainstream. They came close to breaking through, but industry shakeups and shifting trends clipped their momentum just as it was building. For glam fans in the know, Vane remains one of the last great bands of the era that never got their full shot. That's 5 down, and we're just getting warmed up. Which of these bands sparked a memory for you? Drop your favorite track or forgotten gem in the comments. Let's see who remembers the deep cuts. Number 10, Saigon Kick. They were too glam for the grunge crowd and too weird for the glam crowd, but Saigon Kick carved out something totally their own. Their 1992 ballad, Love Is On The Way, briefly lit up the charts. I can see it in your eyes. Let's give it one more try. But it was tracks like Hostile Youth that showcased their real range, blending metal, pop, and even psychedelic textures into something bold and unpredictable. I can feel you now. They never fit neatly into a box, and that might have been their downfall. But for listeners craving something different in a sea of sameness, Saigon Kick was a breath of fresh, distorted air. Number 9, Rough Cutt. They had the chops, the connections, and a sound that could shake walls, but stardom never quite showed up. Produced by Ronnie James Dio and featuring future members of Quiet Riot and Ozzy Osbourne's band, Rough Cutt seemed poised for a breakout. Tracks like Piece of My Heart and Never Gonna Die blended melodic hooks with gritty power in all the right ways. They toured hard and built a loyal following, but never got the label push needed to hit the big leagues. Timing wasn't on their side, but talent definitely was. Number 8, Blue Murder. Born from the ashes of Whitesnake and Thin Lizzy, Blue Murder had the pedigree and the sound to back it up. Led by guitar wizard John Sykes, their self-titled debut delivered thunderous tracks like Valley of the Kings and the unforgettable Jelly Roll. The album was a masterclass in hard rock, epic solos, layered vocals, and production that hit like a freight train. Critics loved it, guitar fans worshipped it, but commercial success never followed, partly due to lineup shifts and lack of label support. Still, that record remains a cult favorite, one of the most underrated gems of the era. Number 7, King's X. They didn't fit the mold, and that's exactly what made them unforgettable. King's X blended crushing riffs with Beatles-style harmonies, creating a sound all their own. Tracks like Over My Head and Goldilocks offered soul, depth, and raw power in equal measure. They were heavy, spiritual, and ahead of their time. Bands like Pearl Jam and Pantera called them an influence, yet mainstream fame never came knocking. They weren't chasing trends, they were setting them. And today, they're still one of the best-kept secrets in rock history. Number 6, TNT. They came from Norway, but their sound hit like it was born in Los Angeles. They broke through with high-voltage tracks like 10,000 Lovers in One and Intuition, blending slick guitar work with the soaring vocals of Tony Harnell. Their mix of glam, metal, and melody was tailor-made for arena stages. In Europe and Japan, they built a loyal following, but in the US, they never quite crossed over. Maybe it was timing, maybe geography, or maybe they were just too polished for their own good. Whatever the reason, TNT remains one of the tightest, most underrated bands to come out of the glam metal era. That's 10 down, and the best might still be ahead. Which of these bands brought back the biggest memories for you? Let us know in the comments before we hit the top 5. Number 5, Pretty Maids. They had the power, the polish, and a frontman who could sing with grit and grace. Pretty Maids stormed out of Denmark with tracks like Future World and Red, Hot, and Heavy, a perfect blend of melodic metal and hard rock energy. Their sound was big, their hooks were razor sharp, and they had all the makings of international stars. In Europe and Japan, they found success. But in the US, they stayed mostly underground, a hidden treasure in a scene overflowing with sound-alikes. Decades later, their early albums still hold up and still feel like the breakthrough that should have happened. Number 4, Loudness. As the first Japanese metal band to make it big in the US, they opened the gates for Asian rock acts on Western stages. They made waves with Crazy Nights and Let It Go, bringing blistering guitar work and high-octane vocals to a whole new audience. Their technical skills rivaled the best, and their energy on stage was undeniable. They signed with a major American label, toured with big names, and cracked MTV. But language barriers and shifting trends kept them from becoming true global stars. Still, for anyone who saw them live or spun their records, Loudness was more than a novelty. They were the real deal. Number 3, Savatage. They were theatrical, ambitious, and way ahead of their time. Savatage delivered heavy melodic epics like Hall of the Mountain King and Gutter Ballet, combining classical influences with power metal grit. Their songwriting was bold, emotional, and far more sophisticated than most of their peers. While critics praised them and die-hard fans followed them religiously, mainstream success always felt just out of reach. But their legacy lived on, morphing into the massively successful Trans-Siberian Orchestra. For those who knew them back then, Savatage wasn't just another metal band, they were something bigger. Number 2, Steelheart. If you remember one thing about Steelheart, it's that voice. Miljenko Matijevich's soaring vocals turned I'll Never Let You Go into one of the most powerful power ballads of the era. But tracks like Can't Stop Me Lovin' You proved they had the full package: hooks, looks, and serious stage presence. Their debut went platinum, and for a moment, they seemed destined for superstardom. But the early 90s brought a sharp turn in the rock landscape, and their rise was cut short.
She's gone out of my life.
Number 1, Kingdom Come.
I wanna be your best friend for all of time.
They had the hype, the sound, and a debut album that exploded onto the charts. With tracks like Get It On and What Love Can Be, Kingdom Come brought a thunderous, Zeppelin-inspired style that grabbed attention fast.
Now that you've come and set me free.
Their music was powerful, moody, and built for arenas, and for a brief moment, they were everywhere. But the same comparisons that got them noticed also held them back. Critics labeled them copycats, and the backlash hit just as quickly as the praise.
Now that I know what love can be.
If you thought these bands were underrated, there's even more waiting to be discovered. Check out part 1 of this series for more forgotten rock gems that deserve their time in the spotlight. Click the link because you won't want to miss it.